Man, peace and blessings to the family. It's me, Coach67 Sports TV. Shout out to the awesome and amazing LDBC, Lions Den Boston community. Shout out to the Louisiana All American Sports Network. Shout out to Envision Photography and Video. And shout out to the greatest university in the world, the Southern University, home of the mighty Jaguars. This is another edition of Jaguar Talk with Coach67. Season 1, Episode 21. Who went to Southern University Fan Fest? I've been seeing a lot of clips on social media about Fan Fest. It seems like it was, a good jovial event and occasion. And for the most part, Fan Fest is for like the die-hardest of the die-hard Southern University fans. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Usually, when Fan Fest comes around, I'm usually preoccupied. Man, salute to my brother Desmond Allen. Salute to your fam. He said, "My dog, Coach67. Man, salute to you, and happy for all my members of Jaguar Nation. Happy belated birthday to our brother Desmond Allen. Man, salute to your fam." But Fan Fest, it seemed like they had a lot of fun. Jukeboxes in the building. They talked to a lot of Southern University players, a lot of Southern University athletes in general across all sports. So for individuals that went to Fan Fest, whether we here in a live stream right now or whether y'all gonna watch this on playback later, man, let me know your experience at Fan Fest. Cause truthfully speaking, like I said, Uh, for the most part, I had opportunities to go on a couple different occasions, but something always came up. So, and somebody told me, I'm not even gonna lie, I'm just gonna keep it a buck. They was like, man, coach, Fan Fest is like a glorified pep rally. They was like, look, man, wake me up when the season starts. I'm like, bro, I said, man, you too much like me, you know what I'm saying? Uh, this man, I said, man, I wish you was going to Birmingham. Man, I'm not gonna lie, the crazy thing about it, for a while I had been saying I wasn't gonna go. And, we always talk about, in his house, like life and death is in the power of the tongue. And then I got to the point where I'm like, all right, hey, nah, I won't go. I'm going to go. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? The heck with it. I'm going. And then the principal was like, well, hey, next Saturday we're going to have Saturday detention and we want, you know, you to set it up. And I'm going to be honest with you. Teachers willing to stay, they're willing to stay after school and do after school detention Monday through Thursday. But when it comes to trying to get teachers to stay for 2 hours after school on a Friday or donate contribute 4 hours of your Saturday morning to, basically be a glorified babysitter on a Saturday, man, teachers are not signing up for Saturday detention. So I already know, like, hey, when I assign Saturday detention, the only thing I'm gonna say is, guess what? Southern University better not have a home game that weekend. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. Hey, I don't care who it is. If Southern University got a home game that weekend, nah, I'm not doing Saturday detention. But at the end of the day, I already know what it is. I already know that, hey, I'm going to have to be the one to stay. But I knew when I took the job, that's what I signed up for. You know what I'm saying? Uh, T. Lavers, 1906, man, salute to you, my brother back in the building. He said, salute, coach. He said, me and my daughter was going, but she wasn't trying to wake up. So I went to my alumni picnic at Capitol. Man, oh, man, salute the Capitol. Because, I was the, head football coach at Capitol Middle for some years, and, I had established a good little relationship. The irony is when I did student teaching at Capitol Miller, Lamont Cole was the principal at the time. Of course, people talking, but the controversy surrounding him. Man, I don't care. At the end of the day, man, Lamont Cole, I rock with him. You know what I'm saying? I can't speak to none of the political crap, but if that's what we doing, when it come to, arresting politicians, as far as I'm concerned, then guess what? Donald Trump should be in jail as far as I'm concerned, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Man, salute to the family. Ravel, 7R4, he said, big what up from Arizona, Jags. Man, salute to your fam. In fact, man, let me get the other device to rent you up, bro. You know what I'm saying? Crook said, Dukes, what was that you were saying? Man, you crazy, Crook. Man, salute to Derek Banks. Hello, everyone. Man, salute to your fam. Boy, I'm not gonna lie, boy. Hey, Dukes, anybody JSU, man, my dog Crook gonna be on him. Carrie Duke going to hide now, LOA. He said, I'm gonna dump some baby all on you. Boy, you crazy, boy. Derek Banks, what up, Jag, man? Yep. Man, salute to the brother Blackwater Bayou. Salute coach and chat. Man, salute to you, Blackwater Bayou. And like I said, last year when SU and Alabama State hooked up, man, Blackwater Bayou and Pops came to the game. Man, it was good meeting Blackwater Bayou, man. Hey, man, I hope to see you at another game this year, you know what I'm saying? But back to Fan Fest, man. Who went to Fan Fest and tell me what y'all think about Fan Fest, you know what I'm saying? Man, my brother Jay Good in the building. But like I said, from the clips I saw, for all intents and purposes, Fan Fest was like, it seemed like it was a vibe. It was a nice little event. But like I say, Fan Fest is for like the most diehard of the diehard members of Jaguar Nation. You know what I'm saying? But Fan Fest is what it is. I'm sure the people that was there, they enjoyed. They had a good time. But it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Desmond Allen, he said, Coach, I'm at the first home game. I'm there. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna keep it 100. Anything at AW, I'm in the building. You know what I'm saying? Anything at AW. You know what I'm saying? Now, I ain't gonna lie. Now, people always been telling me they're like, man, Coach, guess what? Even if you don't go to Fan Fest, you gotta go to the last scrimmage. Before the season starts. And people that I know that actually went to the scrimmage, that go to the scrimmage, you know, they like, man, Coach. The street committee be out in full effect. You know what I'm saying? They like, bro, they say ain't nothing but a glorified scrimmage. They keep it vanilla, they keep it basic, they don't show nothing because they don't want to tip their hand for opening week. And then on top of that, we already know. I'm not gonna lie. Every time I've been seeing clips, I'm always seeing Ashton Strahler starting. You know what I'm saying? Well, let me phrase that. Not starting, but I'm always seeing him. But everybody I talked to, they were like, man, everybody and mama know Christian Johnson gonna be the starting quarterback. But nevertheless, every time I'm seeing clips, I'm seeing AS, taking snaps. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, like, all the diehard members of Jaguar Nation that really, follow their football team, we know who's gonna be the starting quarterback this coming season. But, you know, you can't blame Coach Falk for really, playing his cards close to the vest. Because even look at it last year. Look at last year, right? Everybody in Mama knew Jalen Woods was gonna be the starter going into the season, but you miss the team bus going to Atlanta and you got to catch a flight back home. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes, not playing your card, playing your claws, got me getting me tongue twisted. Sometimes playing your cards close to the vest, it can kind of be beneficial. And the crazy thing about it was like after that, everything was downhill from Jalen Woods. Yeah, he started the next week, but he ended up getting hurt. And that pretty much ended his season, you know. And not only that, but ended his entire time at Southern, T. Lathers, 1906, he said, I usually go. My daughter loves it, especially meeting cheerleaders, dancers, athletes, the band. She loves it. He said, me, I've been going since '01 when it was at All-Star Chevy on Airline and meet Mike. Oh, I'm not going to lie. Man, hey, bro, I don't care what nobody say. when it comes to Southern University players, man, Mike Hayes was cool. Well, I'm not gonna lie, the overwhelming majority, pretty much all the Southern players that I used to come in contact with on a consistent basis that I had classes with in a physical education department, man, it was all cool. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Especially Mike Hayes. You know, Mike Hayes, man, he was always cool people. You know what I'm saying? Man, hey, if he within the sound of my voice, man, shout out to Mike Hayes, man. Mike Hayes was my dog. You know what I'm saying? Man, your boy Jay, salute, coach. Salute to your fam. He said, yeah, Woods was missing. The team bus was the prequel to what was to come for the rest of the season. And then not only that, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. We already knew who we had as the offensive coordinator. And, having him, it greatly contributed to, that pretty much being the end for Jalen Woods. Because, like I say all the time, being a dual threat quarterback or being a pure pocket passer that's mobile is completely two different things. And for you to run the ball the way he did, man, that was so stupid, bro. That boy there, bro. I can't say how bad this boy was as an offensive coordinator. I can't keep stating that. They said Jalen Woods was doomed the second he got concussed in the Bayou Classic. O-line was getting that man hit. But the thing about it, though, you know, Frederick at OC was terrible. This boy is not that kind of runner. Why are you trying to run all this inside zone with this boy? You know what I'm saying? T. Lavender say, my favorite SU player all the time. I'm gonna keep it a buck. He mine too, T. Lavers. And in fact, really, I think that's gonna be my next top, my Southern University top 5. My favorite Southern University players of all time. I think that's gonna be hey, I'm not gonna lie, man. Y'all come up with some good ideas. You know what I'm saying? Hey, that's a good one there. I think I think that's gonna be my next one. He said he wasn't in class like that, man. Who you talking about, Mike Hayes? I had multiple classes with Mike Hayes. Mike Hayes, I don't know, maybe the class you had with him, Crook, but the class I had with Mike Hayes was in class, bro. In fact, I remember I had a summer class with him. May she rest in peace. This was a Miss Clark class. And Mike Hayes had heat stroke the day before because he was running around the track and I don't know if he wasn't properly hydrated, whatever. He had heat exhaustion or heat stroke the day before. He still came to class that next day. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't know, but your experience, but yeah, Mike Hayes was in class like that in my presence. You know what I'm saying? Your boy Jay say found out grades wasn't even letting them hit in practice. That's why we couldn't tackle for 2 years under him. Well, I'm not gonna lie, your boy Jay. That's not really out the realm of possibility. The reason I'm saying that is because guess what? When when I went to Assumption, I'm not gonna lie. We was in full gear every day. The only day we wasn't in full gear was on walkthrough days. And then I've known players that played like the same year in my time. They said even on walkthrough days they was in full gear. And I'm like, bro, that is insane. And I'm talking about even if they had we just gonna say, I remember like these players, they were playing like JV ball. And they had like a game on a Tuesday night. They were practicing with the varsity the next day and they was in full gear. I'm like, bro, the day after a game, y'all was in full gear? But nowadays, I'm not gonna lie. Coaches take pans. They don't let players tackle. They don't let, players go full throttle in practices now. And not only that, but the amount of hours you can practice and all this other stuff, man, I'm gonna keep it real. Like, it's not like when we came up. Hey, I know players that clearly had concussions at the time, wasn't coming out games, stuff like that. So at the end of the day, with CTE, concussion protocol and all that extra stuff, man, I'm not gonna lie, like it's a different world compared to when, we was in high school back in the gap. You know what I'm saying? Desmond Allen said Jalen Woods was getting hit worse than Marcus Jacoby. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think some of them players at the time wanted Marcus Jacoby to get hit and get hurt. I think a lot of them players was getting hit, but I don't think none of them got it worse than J.C. Lewis. J.C. Lewis probably got hit more than any Southern quarterback I've ever seen. I mean, maybe y'all can think of another Southern quarterback that got hit more than J.C. Lewis. I can't remember one that got hit more than J.C. Lewis, me personally, you know what I'm saying? He said, I was a freshman. He seen you here. He said, I watch him walk through class, nod his head. That meant sign my name on the roll. Well, see, that's the thing about it. I think it's the classes you took. Because guess what? I don't care who you were. If you had a Miss Clark class, just think about it. At the time, Devin Clark was the starting point guard on a basketball team. And guess what? His ass had to be in class. And that was his own mama, bro. So, man, Miss Clark wasn't playing that. So maybe, and you got to realize, a lot of class I had with Mike Hayes at the time, Miss Clark was our teacher. So guess what? You wasn't going to pull that, you wasn't going to get that off in the Miss Clark class. And even Kelly and Hill stopped. So maybe like non-physical education classes, maybe if you took a class like in Stewart Hall, education class like on the third floor or something, yeah, you could pull it off in a class like that. But we talking about one of the classes in our department? Oh, no. I wouldn't even, I mean, just think about, like I said at the time, I mean, I had classes with Mike Hayes. Hell, I had classes with Peter Cipriano, you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you know, Cook said, LOL, he said in summer school, he said he failed it the semester before, LOL. We did, we all, he said we all did that, Coach. So that's why, hey, I didn't take it in the fall. I took in some other classes. But like I said, I had multiple classes with him. In fact, I remember even Devin Lewis. That's what let me knew that Devin Lewis was gonna be a dog. Uh, on my ACT, I think I had with like a 17, 18. I think I had a 17. I did well in like ELA. I'm sorry, I did well in math and I did well in some of them other subjects, but I bombed it on the writing part in English. So at Southern, I had to take 090, and this uh I had this remedial. Instead of me taking 110 and 111, well, at Southern, 110 is a prerequisite for 111. So I took one. I couldn't take 110. I had to take 090. And Devin Clark was in that class. I'm sorry, got me saying Devin Clark. I'm saying Devin Lewis was in that class with me. And Mark Orlando used to personally come to check. If I'm not mistaken, I think Gary Jenkins, a couple other players was in there. But he was coming to that class specifically to check. I guess he was checking on all of them, but he was mainly checking on Devin Lewis because I heard him ask the the, the 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 professor. In fact, I think her name was Miss Clark too, Felisa Clark. She was light skinned, but he was asking like, "Hey, you know how Devin doing? With the woo." I'm like, "Dang, man, this boy must be a dog." See, a few years later, guess what? I'm like, "Yeah, hey, not a few years, a couple years later, especially once Mike Hayes got hurt, he was out for the year. I'm not gonna lie, Devin Lewis was balling out. You know what I'm saying?" Jay Good said, shaking my head, laughing at Crook. He said, Jay Good said, you gotta hit, you gotta tap. Well, you gotta realize, like I said, Jay Good, hey, we, you know, it was a different era back then. And then I know, especially when I was going to Assumption, man, you had players all over the state getting heat exhaustion, heat stroke, passing out. I think a couple players died. One player, he passed out, and they put him in a hot tub or whatever, or the whirlpool or whatever. And I remember one of my teammates was like, man, if I was his parents, I'll sue the school and the coaches and this, that, and the third, you know, for him being in the hot for him being having heat stroke, and you put him in the whirlpool in the hot tub, this, that, and the third. I'm thinking to myself, the water can't be too cold because he's gonna go in a septic shock. But clearly he didn't know that, even though he was like an honor student at the time. But of course, how many like juniors in high school gonna know something like that? He said, walk through in full pass is diabolical. I'm telling you, bro. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, bro, what are y'all full pass doing? Walk through? He said, man, hey, hey, bro, I'll coach old school and this, that, and the third and blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? Adrian Crook said, Ed's in summer school, else for not showing up. Oh, no, I'm not going to lie. I kid you not. The same class I told you I had with Mike Hayes for Miss Clark. We had this class in summer school. And I don't know if y'all know the Southern rule, the 15-minute rule. Certain classes we was in, if the professor wasn't there within 15 minutes of the start of the class, we start our own roll, the students. Start our roll, everybody put their name, the date, this, that, and the third, with the room. So this summer school, we like 20 minutes in. We start our own roll, we sign our name, and one person was responsible for giving her the roll. Miss Clark showed up like 25 minutes late. And guess what? She was like, hey, pop quiz. Everybody got an F. Then the next day, she gave us another pop quiz. Everybody bombed, right? Then I think that Friday she gave us like a test. So I'm like, dang, bro. So she was pissed about that. Hey, y'all can implement that 15-minute rule in any other class y'all want. Y'all ain't implement that rule in my class, you know what I'm saying? Jay could say, bell ring equals concussion. No protocol. Oh, no, I'm not going to lie. In the late 90s, Jay Good, oh, ain't had no concussion protocol back then. Hey, I knew players that got their bell wrong, you know. Oh, yeah, I ain't going to lie. J.C. Lewis definitely got punished. Man, I'm not going to lie. And that crazy thing about it is, years later, one of the guys that ended up, working at the school with us, he was like, man, people don't realize, like, he said they used to call, I didn't know, but on the team, they used to call J.C. Lewis Sunshine, like from Remember the Titans. And it was like he could run, and they told him he needed to run, but he wanted to be a pocket passer. That's why he was getting lit up. I'm like, man, as bad as the offensive line was, I'd have been running for my life all the time. You know what I'm saying? Your boy Jay, he said the second Christian Johnson transferred here, the job was his. Fox said he would name a starter in the spring and didn't for a reason. Yeah, that's what it is. I think he playing those mind games. You know what I'm saying? He said, "Yep, I agree." JC was getting dragged. He said, but Marcus Jacoby, dad, said he believed players purposely. Oh no, I'm not gonna lie, Desmond Allen. I'm telling you. In fact, I remember he played in that Northwestern game. I think it was Northwestern. I can't think of who it was, but they played like trash. In fact, I tell you all the time that senior went to Nickel State and he couldn't stand Nickel State because my grandmother made both of them rest in peace. She was like, "Hey, you better get your behind on that bus and walk to the head of that street and catch that 30-minute, 35-minute bus ride to Thibodeau to Nickel State instead of me having to try to get you a ride to Donaldsonville so you could go to Southern." So, make a long story short, they Nickel State beat Southern when Marcus Jacoby was the starting quarterback, and then they later found out when Marcus Jacoby left Southern, he had this ridiculously long article, right? And back then we didn't have like Wi-Fi; we had the dollar connections. And man, my daddy bought one of these papers. He bought the interview, and he talked about everything he went through. My daddy said, man, I don't feel sorry for that garbage ass white boy. He said, he went through everything I went through at Nickel State and that assumption and blah, 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 blah. He said, hell, after integration, he said, hell, we all went through that. So he said, he just getting a taste of what we went through. I said, damn, bro. But He said, but I'm not gonna lie, but Senior was mad at P. Richardson for. He said P. Richardson even knew that wide receivers were intentionally trying to sabotage Marcus Jacoby and dropping passes on purpose. Like they were literally actually dropping passes on purpose, and P. Richardson knew, and he didn't do nothing about it. And somebody had told me behind the scenes, it was back then, like he was like one of these high-profile members of the Southern University quarterback club, and him and my dad was at the same, they worked at the same plant, but he had retired and, he had good retirement money and woo the woo. He was like a big time donor. And he told my dad himself, he was like, in all actuality, P. Richardson didn't feel like Marcus Jacoby was the best quarterback, but he felt like from a political standpoint, like it'll draw more players or it'll draw more attention to Southern having Marcus Jacoby, a white quarterback, starting at Southern. I'm like, man, F that, I won't win. And I don't care what nobody say. I know me, man, salute to C. Wells and Swag Talk. Me and C. Wells talking, but I ain't gonna lie to me, I think Marcus Jacoby is probably, even if you say he not the worst, he one of the worst Southern University quarterbacks I saw. C. Wells disagrees with me. He think guys like Noah Biden and Harold Blood were worse. But I'm thinking to myself, bro, look at how good the offensive line was when Marcus Jacoby was there. I always felt like Steve Wolford was overrated as a running back, but Marcus Jacoby had Steve Wolford, and he had a savage defense. I don't know, bro. To me, I don't know. I ain't gonna lie, Crook, Hightower used to look out for the football players because, we know Hightower played ball for Southern. So Hightower was looking out for football players. And I'm not even gonna lie to you. Man, Hightower, man, he rest in peace too, man. Hightower was my guy. Man, a lot of times Hightower couldn't even remember your damn name, him. He said, hello, he said, my pops got those same people you talking about to hook me up, man. Oh, all right. Yeah. He said, Brian Lee still my favorite SUQB. I just wish his teams could finish games. They lost too many one-score games. Well, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think if Brian Lee would have had some of those defenses that Eric Randall had, like in the early '90s, oh my goodness, bro. And I mean, just think about it. That '93 defense. I mean, don't get me wrong. When Eric McNair came to AW, he was he was making he was making players roll their ankles left and right. I mean, he was juking them out their jock strap. But for them to hold this boy under like 49 points, man, that was a damn good defense. You know what I'm saying? Jay Good said, "Water boy is for cows. Water is for cows." He said, "These boys." So, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. This young generation nowadays is just different, man. Some of these players saying some of these things they say, I'm like, bro, ain't no way you'll be to say the stuff, these kind of things when I played. He said we did 3 a day in high school. Damn, I'm not gonna lie, we did 2 a days. We ain't did no 3 a days, crook. Man, y'all was on something different than Baker, bro. He said, Coach, I used the 15-minute rule twice today. He said, I'm like, hey, what's going on? he said, with the professors. I'm not gonna lie, hey, that 15-minute rule was something savage at Southern, you know what I'm saying? He said, LOL, he said, that rule was made at Southern in the night. Hey, I'm not, and that's the crazy thing about it. I don't care what department you're talking about. I took classes in the physical education department, the education department, business department. Man, I took classes across multiple different departments. Of course, I got hella, at one point I was a double major, but I got a ridiculous amount of credit hours that didn't even apply in education. And I don't care what department you was in, even in business. If that professor wasn't there for 15 minutes after class started, then guess what? Now, don't get me wrong. I done had professors, if you wasn't there within like 15 minutes of the start of the class, oh, they was going to lock the door. They weren't going to let you in. So in the business department. But if that professor wasn't there, oh, no. Crook said, I'll play games with a sprained neck. Man, hey, bro, that's crazy. I ain't gonna lie, the assumption they wouldn't let you roll on that one. But, them coaches, they were always looking for the next guy up anyway. Your boy just said, I want to know who idea it is to have that game in Birmingham in late August. I hope they have ice, water on standby. Oh, I'm not gonna lie. Bruh, they're gonna need to have an infinite amount of ice on deck, water on deck, everything. Cause guess what? Hey, 2 o'clock? Oh man, it's gonna be hot as hell out there. He said, yep. You must have been reading my mind. He said, at 2 o'clock. Like, who agreed to this? LOL. For real, bro. Man, hey, players gonna be cramping like crazy. He said they was letting people flip him. For real, I'm not gonna lie, bro. They did not want this boy. They did not want that boy to start at all. He said the most lookout blocks in SU history. I mean, especially when it comes to Marcus Jacoby. I remember one year in the Bayou Classic, right? Marcus Jacoby was the starting quarterback for Southern, and Matt Cornblaw was the starting quarterback for Grambling. People say that's the worst Bayou Classic in history. I remember Grambling turned the ball over, right? Southern players on defense got the ball. Boy running down the field. He saw Grambling player getting ready to tackle it. He fumbled the ball forward. They made sure that they tried to score on defense because they knew Southern offense wasn't going to be the score because Marcus Jacoby was their quarterback, right? And hey, and of course, Doug Williams. Man, he talking like crazy about how trash both quarterbacks were. And of course, the next year he become the head coach at Grambling. The first thing he do is he get rid of Matt Cornblaw and Lionel Hayes, who had to sit, who came from Southern. Lionel Hayes became the starting quarterback almost immediately at Grambling. He said, all of these record heat days, I hope people don't pass out. No, this is the crazy thing about it. Like 2 days this week. No, I think 3 days this week. We wasn't able to practice because, nowadays, you know, the state, they don't want, high school and middle school athletes having heat stroke, heat exhaustion. So if the temperature above a certain level and there's a certain level of humidity, you can't take them outside. Like, you got to bring them in the gym. And the crazy thing about it with us, yesterday, the volleyball team, well, they was having like trials for the volleyball team. So guess what? We couldn't bring them in the gym. So man, we had to go through stuff in the band room. I said, oh man. When we was playing, guess what? We didn't care how hot it was. In fact, I remember my first practice as a head coach. The principal was like, oh no, coach, you can't go out this rugged heat. I'm like, man, I'm gonna get these players water breaks every 10 minutes. Man, what you talking about? So we had practice, but I remember it started raining. She was like, oh no, you can't take them out there in the rain. I'm like, why not? We practice in the rain. She said, oh no, coach, it's a different day. Y'all ain't have practice. She canceled practice that day. But of course, it was an all-white school at the time, though, so hey. Andrew Cook said the Great White Hope, the Great White Hype yet. Man, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I could not stand that boy as starting quarterback. I'd have took either Lionel Hayes or Sam George over him. Pastor Quan, 1911, he said, how many sacks Givens gonna give y'all? I don't know. I mean, time gonna tell. I'm hoping for maybe about, 15, maybe. We'll see. He said, then JSU signed a criminal, the white tiger, LOL. You crazy. He said, I think Christian Johnson, our first half white quarterback since Jacoby. Yeah, maybe. But I'm not, and I remember seeing used to tell this to my uncle all the time. Oh man, y'all don't like Marcus Jacoby just because he's white. My daddy said if he could play, I wouldn't give a damn if he purple. But he said, guess what? our white boys trash. He said, then we play against Grambling. We see their white boy worse than our white boy. He said, man, I don't give a damn if he George Steinbrenner nephew or not. He said, man, that boy is a scrub. I said, yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Matt Cornblow was kind of suck, you know. He said he was ass, just tough. He wasn't overrated, coach. Who? Jacoby? He said, I think Bubba was half white, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Dooley screwed over Bubba, you know. He said, them boys just extra beige, like me. You crazy, crook. He said, yeah, I remember that Alcorn game. Marcus Jacoby dad was furious because he believed the O-line wasn't blocking for his son. Remember, Marcus ended up in the hospital after the Alcorn game. Man, hey, bro, I promise you, bro. I don't care what nobody say. Marcus Jacoby was trash. Like I say, I remember on Swag Talk, me and C. Wells, we disagreed. To this day, I fervently believe Marcus Jacoby was one of the worst Southern quarterbacks I ever seen in my life. And I think, honestly, I think J.C. Lewis was better. I think J.C. Lewis just had a trash offensive line. And I mean, just think about it. He had James Vernon and he had Gerard Landry. But the offensive line just was trash, you know. He said the kid Dooley brought in is hands down the worst quarterback ever to put a SU uniform on. He said, thank goodness for Sam George when Marcus Jacoby was here. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be honest with you. I was so happy when Sam George became the starting quarterback. And just to think about it, Sam George was starting for Southern, Lionel Hayes for Grambling. And I'm thinking to myself, man, both of these boys were behind Jacoby. I'm like, bro, man, Pete Richards was tripping on that, bro. Ain't no way Marcus Jacoby was better than them two boys. Either one of them could have started over Jacoby as far as I'm concerned. He said Allen and LSU after leaving the hospital. He said, yeah, but Sean McCray was definitely the worst quarterback I seen come through Southern. Dooley was smoking good dope to be playing him. And that's the thing about it. He had this boy starting over Bubble, bro. Man, I don't care what nobody say. I could have forgave Dooley if Dooley would have started Bubba for the SWAC championship game against Jackson State. Even if you lose that game, at least you give yourself the best chance to win. But to come out there and start this boy, to start with Sean McCray, and then you bring in Harold Blood, then you put McCray back in, and then when you down 26-0, then you want to put Clinton Bump McDaniel in again. Hey, bro. After that, it was time for him to go as far as I was concerned. You know what I'm saying? He said, first time I truly ever saw one player completely hold back a damn good team. For real, huh? He said, facts, coach, we did 3 days our senior year in high school. For 4 days in the last week of camp. When I say torture, man, Chad Germany on that slap. Oh, I'm not gonna lie, bro. That's some crazy stuff, bro. 3 days, man, I'm not gonna lie. I was tripping on 2 days. Man, 3 days, man, that'd have been crazy. He said, coach, that's why I was wearing that big ass neck roll from Southern. Oh, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest with you. Them Cowboys and them neck rolls. Hey, if you ask a player nowadays what a cowboy is or what a neck roll is, man, them players would not be able to tell you what that is. He said, is Bama State a ESPN game? From my understanding, I think it is, if I'm not mistaken. Y'all tell me in the chat. I think it's a ESPN 3 game. Crook said, shaking my head. Will Wallace said, GSU by 40. Not when they play against Southern. Yeah, he said, yeah, it's on ESPNU. All right, all right, all right. He said back in the day, he said that was a trip to Lane with the IV under an ice bag. Man, that's crazy, bro. He said the hottest game I ever attended was Delaware State in Florida in 2010. FAMU '07 in Birmingham. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I remember one year, man, we went to Alcorn State. I think this was what? I want to say 90, maybe 99. No, I take that back. I know one year when Southern played against Northwestern, man, it was hot out there that day too. Bruh. Cook said, hey, Will Wallace, hello. Our brother Jared Larry Green said, hit the like button. He said, Steve, that white boy was ass. Yeah. He said, Will, what happened, man? You crazy, Cook. He said, JC was slinging that. He said he used to throw for 300 yards and have 2 picks and at least 3 sacks. Oh, I'm not gonna lie, man. That boy was getting smacked, bro. He said, I remember when Marcus quit Southern. It was all over BET channel. But no, but I'm telling you, this guy told me that's what Pete Richardson was doing. He was playing that political game. You know, he felt like starting his white quarterback would give him, more I think more publicity or whatever. Yeah, hey, I ain't gonna lie, Ravel, you're not the only person to say that. I think a couple people in the chat said that Sam George didn't have the grades, but even Sam George, he wasn't better than Lionel Hayes. I would have took Lionel Hayes over Marcus Jacoby. There's no way Marcus Jacoby should have been starting over Lionel Hayes. There ain't no way. He said Marcus Jacoby was Mark Orlando boy. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. From what I understood, when Troy Williams was starting over Terrence Levy, it was because I don't know if Orlando was the offensive coordinator, David Oliver was the offensive coordinator, but the reason why Troy Williams was starting because they liked Troy Williams more than Terrence Levy. That's why Troy Williams was starting over him. He said, Alan, nah, it was us in the stands, LOL. He said, Alan, we was on his LOL. He said, the whole, man, y'all had 3 days for a whole summer. Man, that's crazy. I'm not going to lie. I think if they'd have pulled that an assumption, man, parents would have been cutting up. He said, Jay Walker better not be calling our game. He's going to talk about fault 100 times on the broadcast. But I'm not going to lie, bro. I remember one time we talked about Jay Walker and Tiffany Green. You know, like I said, I know one person that he not a fan of Tiffany Green, either Jay Walker. I could deal with Tiffany Green. But Jay Walker? Oh, no, man. I ain't going to lie, man. You got to get that boy up out of there. Man, yeah, for real, bro. 3 days a whole summer? Man, that's crazy. Man, I'm not going to lie, bro. Hey, he couldn't have made that assumption. Time water breaks. Man, hey, bro. Hey, you wonder why when we played Crook in that era, so many players were getting heat exhaustion and heat stroke, a couple players dying in the state. That's the reason why these players nowadays, if the temperature was, because all that stuff we went through in the 90s, man, I'm not going to lie, bro. I don't think them players nowadays can even handle it. He said the hottest game I remember being at was the only home game of the spring season. It was stupid hot. I'm not going to lie, I'm going to be honest with you. Them fall games be hot, but at least it's late in the evening. But them spring games, bro, I'm not gonna lie, like the spring showcase, it wasn't that bad this year, but the year before that, man, I'm not gonna lie, man, it felt like I was baking out there. Them spring games, to me, them spring games be hotter than normal Southern University games. And then, like I said, my nephew was like, he was like, Uncle Jim, where the band at? I said, buddy, you ain't got no band. I wouldn't even lie. Like 5 minutes later, he was like, Uncle Jim, I'm ready to go. I'm like, bro. He said, man, I'm ready to go. I said, hey, let's wait till halftime, then we can leave. When he saw no jukebox, oh no, he was like, oh no, we got to get up out of here. He said, they ain't got no concessions either. He was like, we can't get no concessions. I said, buddy, they ain't got no concessions. Oh man, hey, when he found out they didn't have no human jukebox and no concessions, oh man, he was almost ready to go like the next 5 minutes. He said we didn't get tired though. Well, I'm not gonna lie, I'm sure it prepared y'all for the season. But nowadays, even during the game, when I'm doing a broadcast for Louisiana All American Sports Network, and they like, hey, hydration timeout. I'm like, man, bro. In our day, man, coach would have been complaining, like, why you stopping the game for to get these boys some water? He said, bro, time water breaks. For real. Time water breaks. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest with you. I was mad after my sophomore year, we switched coaches. At least when the coach they had my sophomore year, when he was the head coach, we we was getting Gatorade. You know, they had the big cooler. You get the powder, you mix the Powerade, the Gatorade, whatever. After that, man, we was just drinking straight from the water trough, you feel? Especially when I played freshman football. They give you an ice cube, and you better take the ice cube and go to water trough and drink some water. Nowadays, these players tell me they don't want no water from the tap. I'm like, man, y'all better drink this water. He said, those white coaches was crazy. For real, huh? But hey, but they still couldn't pull that off at Assumption, though. Rivera said my hottest game ever was New Mexico versus Southern in 2010 in Albuquerque. 105 and 1. Oh my goodness, bro. Man, I probably had but 10 bottles of water that game. He said, Cook, yeah, must have been trying to keep y'all from becoming a high school parent. Man, I'm not gonna lie, parents nowadays, man, them parents will revolt. You talking about having 3 days for these kids. Man, these kids, they're not even allowed to have 2 days, let alone 3 days. He said, yeah, he said, that didn't work. The quarterback had a kid we didn't know about. That's crazy. He said, Crook, he said, bro, I just laughed so hard. Dang, bro. He said she graduated college a few years back. All right. He said, boy, when in the comment trying to figure out the time still. He said, we in. He said, yeah, and that's just the oldest. Dang. He said, we worked out 3 times during the day once with Gail Hatch at the Spectrum. Oh, bruh. Man. Man, he was going crazy. For real, Jay Good. That's super crazy work right there, bro. He said 7th hour athletics. We was working out. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I used to like 7th hour sports because guess what? 7th hour sports, basically we starting practice early and we going through this, going through that. I don't know if a lot of coaches do this, but we always started practice with special teams. So, we get dressed this, that, and the third during 7th hour sports. And then we'll do special teams. And by the time the bell was ringing and everybody else was dismissing in Napoleonville, for the most part, we was getting ready to stretch to start like the other parts of practice. He said, man, I hope y'all bring water and drink plenty of water when play Jackson because them and Alcorn known for running out of water. I could imagine. He said, Coach, the first game my senior year, they against Santa Helena in '07. They canceled the game that Friday night, 5 minutes before the game, due to excessive ants. We played that Saturday. Man, that's crazy. That is crazy. Excessive ants. Man, he said people will stay through a stormy blizzard as long as the band is there. Oh, I'm not gonna lie. Hey, my nephew was ready to go, bro. Ants, man, for real, bro. I'm not gonna lie. In Napoleonville, that wouldn't stop nothing right there. He said SU was playing FAMU in Birmingham that day. He said, I'll never forget because I had to stop watching it at halftime to go to school, to catch the bus, to go back out there to St. Helena. Man, that's crazy, bro. Sitting at 107. We better, for real, bro. He said, Crook, man, I swear to God, we were so mad. We like, nigga, we practicing it. For real, I'm not gonna lie. In the Napoleonville, that practice field wasn't nothing like the Mustang Stadium field. Man, guess what, man? We used to have ants all over that practice field, man. He said, try lifting, jumping rope, and wrestling. He said, that hot room in high school to cut weight. For I could imagine. He said, Jackson got that bad, running out of water during the first quarter. Man, that's crazy, bro. In fact, where was that and they ran out of something? It wasn't Jackson, it was somewhere else. I wanted this, they didn't have this. I wanted that, didn't. Oh, I know where it was. When Southern played against McNeese, they ran out of stuff. I'm like, bro, my nephew wanted this, they didn't have this. He wanted that, they didn't have that. He wanted this, they didn't have this. He wanted that. So we ended up getting something else. I said, come on, bro. So it ain't just HBCUs and PWIs run out of stuff too now. He said, I noticed they didn't allow any filming at the scrimmage last week. He said, whatever the offense better put up 35 points per game to be hiding this much for real, bro. Well, I'm not gonna lie, we already know Falk, his whole take on the street committee, you know what I'm saying? He said that was one thing about traveling to Jackson I hated. He said they ran out of water every single time. He said they were handing us room temperature Dr. Peppers and Cokes. Bro, that's crazy work. That is crazy work, bro. He said, LOL, he said, I remember playing Holy Cross on a Saturday. He said, in high school playoffs, walking off from an attempted interview to go to the game in Jackson. Cook said, didn't even shower. He said, at the hotel in Jackson. He said, didn't even shower. Hit at the hotel in Jackson. For real, huh? Mr. Jag, 1623, salute to you. He said, boy, that he said, McNeese games be crucial. Man, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I was so mad them ninjas blew that game. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't saying, hey, 5 grades that night, but I was hot. Especially driving all the way back to Baker with wet socks and wet underwear on. And then the crazy thing about it, leaving from Baker coming to Bell Rose, guess what? Doggone state trooper stopped me on Highway 7 and gave me a ticket. I said, bro, I'd have felt better, but the ticket is Southern would have won. And now blown the lead. He said, yeah, I couldn't find any footage of the scrimmage online. He said, lo and behold, he had Pentagon rules in effect. It said from New Orleans straight to Jackson. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest with you. From New Orleans to Jackson, man, hey, when I used to go from New Orleans and pass through Croc Springs and this, that, and the third, I used to hate going that way. Man, that feel like the longest ride ever. When I used to go to Monroe and pass going away toward Jackson. He said, Crook Facts, he said, we ain't missing no Jackson game. He said, we played Bruley in '06 at Bruley. As soon as the game was over, I ain't ride back with the team. I got in the car with my mama. Boy, I'm not gonna lie, hey, boy, you and Crook, boy, hey, y'all going straight from y'all game straight to Jackson. Boy, those are the days right there. He said I was in the worst in 2028, 2020, no, 2008, 2009 in Jackson. Them people ran out of everything mid-second quarter. Bro, that's crazy work. Man, you know when Southern and Jackson State play at Jackson, bro, you already know it's going to be a crowd, bro. How you run out of stuff for that game there? Man, that's crazy right there. He said, and they ran out of, he said, water a day, cramping all game, trying to cheer, LOL. He said, I never rolled back. I was head to SU game. I'm glad at Assumption we ain't never played no Saturday games. He said, don't pull me at halftime. He said, don't pull me at halftime, I'm going. He said, couldn't even get a cup of ice. They ran out of that, too. He said, the only gave us a small Sprite. Man, that's crazy, bro. Running out of ice, too. He said, pull me before half. I'm headed to SU. I don't blame you on that one. Well, I ain't gonna lie. We used to work out. We used to, the day after the game, we used to watch game film and work out. But, we was done by 11, though. He said, type of carrying on. He said, I know Coach Fox said he paranoid, but man, let us recall one play. Man, I'm not gonna lie. Hey, I'm glad they didn't have that in effect for the spring showcase. Cause guess what? I got every snap on my phone for the spring. Well, I done deleted them all, but I done uploaded them all anyway. Somebody like, man, Coach, how you got 1,000 uploads? I'm like, man, go. I got the whole spring showcase on this channel. You know what I'm saying? So that's part of, you know, I got so many uploads. You know what I'm saying? He said Alcorn versus Southern, then Nichols versus Southern, both 1 p.m. kicks. He said neither had lights at the time. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I'm down with you. I used to hate Southern playing Nichols, especially going down there to John Gidget Stadium. And guess what? You could go to Nichols homecoming. Man, you could see wherever you want. Southern coming to Thibodeau, guess what? Standing room only. So that's part of the reason why I'm glad Southern don't go down there no more. He said, Coach, I never made film day. For what, LO? Hey, I'm not gonna lie. I don't care if you was all world at Assumption. Man, you could be skipping practice like that, Crook. Hell, let Brad Hill say, guess what? You know what? Man, I ain't come and lift weights and watch them film. I'm going somewhere else. Hey, when the other running backs would have been starting, he said the best we'll get is the newest show on turf on WLB. Yeah, pretty much. He said the news show one play of Christian Johnson throwing a tight end. I know Falk was pissed about that. That's crazy. Yeah, he probably was heated about that. He said, I know every look out block I threw LOL and walked off the field limping, laughing about. He said they probably peeped your catalog from the spring uploads and implemented the blackout. You right, Jay. You right, Jay. Good. I ain't gonna lie. I got every last one of them. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, Jay. Good. Hey, I uploaded every last snap. So yeah, that's probably what they did, Jay. Good. I ain't gonna even lie. He said, facts. Coach uploaded every play I did. I ain't gonna even lie. So yeah, so that's probably why they did that. I ain't gonna even lie. But hey, I ain't mad because guess what? It made for some damn good content, you know what I'm saying? Jay Good said every snap is crazy work. Oh, I'm not gonna lie, guess what? And I deleted every snap, Jay Good, and guess what? My iPhone, my iPhone I still don't have no iCloud storage. He said, can't even walk past practice field, coach. Falk might send the dogs after you. for even taking one peek. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, for him to say, man, hey, he be paranoid. They told him with the street committee. He said he be paranoid. He said he thinking about tarping off the field. I'm like, bro, man, for people to cut up around there. He said, yeah, I don't like them apartments being across from the practice field. I'm like, dude, this is Southern. Nobody includes y'all in. Just like Coach Light didn't know what the dog day defense was. I'm like, yeah, bro, y'all gotta learn the culture, you know what I'm saying? He said, Coach finna get all our band from practice. Hey, that's all right. We can always get some street committee members, He said, the only time I went, they kept playing me, attempting to flip big pattern. I got nailed. I made the block through. I already know. He said Carlos Brown was hot last show because he couldn't get an interview. Oh, man. Man, why they boxing on my dog, Carlos Brown? In fact, me and him had a English 111 class at Southern, and I think but like '05, I think. But yeah, but I'm about to shut down this live stream, man. I appreciate everybody coming through, showing some love. I ought to go see if I got some of this paperwork to finish up. He said, and it's hella easy to enter the year. Oh, I'm not gonna lie. I think Southern Camp was way more uh, accessible than a lot of campuses, just in general, you know what I'm saying? He said, LOL, he said, G don't know about that, and I'm glad, LOL. Man, I appreciate you, fam. But yeah, man, I'm going to catch y'all on the rebound, man. Y'all have a blessed, phenomenal evening. Peace and blessings to the family. And go Jags, you dig?